Hey warrior, isn't it strange that people today chase happiness as if it's some hidden treasure at the end of a rainbow? We scroll through social media looking for perfect lives and perfect moments, yet the Stoics over 2,000 years ago already knew the truth. We don't find happiness, we build it every day through our choices, mindset, and inner strength. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "Happiness and freedom begin with understanding that some things are within our control and some are not." Even as the most powerful man of his time, he focused not on controlling the world but on controlling his own response to life. Stoicism isn't about fake positivity or ignoring problems. It's about realizing that happiness depends on how you respond, not on what happens. You may face stress, struggles, and pressure, but the Stoics faced the same challenges and found peace through discipline and wisdom. They understood that happiness is not a reward you wait for when life is perfect. It is a daily practice, built by focusing on your character, your choices, and your ability to find meaning in every moment. Epictetus, who was once a slave and later became one of the greatest Stoic teachers, said, "It's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." He knew happiness is a daily choice. You must focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Today we'll look at 5 Stoic principles that can change your life, not as theory but as practical tools for peace and happiness. The Stoics believed philosophy was for living, not just studying. The first principle is mastering your morning mind. The first 30 minutes after waking set the tone for the whole day, yet most people start with stress, phones, and distractions. Marcus Aurelius prepared himself each morning by reminding himself that people can be rude, ungrateful, or selfish, but that he had the power to respond with understanding. This wasn't negativity, it was preparation. A Stoic morning means 3 things. Expect challenges, trust your strength to handle them, and focus only on what you can control: your attitude, your effort, and your response. By doing this, you stop reacting blindly and start responding with clarity. To practice, spend 5 minutes each morning asking, "What am I grateful for? What one thing can I do today to grow? How do I want to show up in the world?" Neuroscience even proves this works. It activates the part of your brain that handles planning and emotions, wiring you for resilience. Seneca reminded us, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Each morning is a chance to let go of yesterday and create a stronger, calmer today. When you master your morning mind, you give yourself the chance to start fresh, choose happiness, and build inner strength from the moment you wake up. Happiness doesn't come from avoiding problems, it comes from facing them with the right mindset. The Stoics lived through wars, plagues, and personal struggles, yet they trained their minds to stay strong, knowing that while external events are temporary, our response is always our choice. Starting tomorrow, you too can choose to take control of your morning and set the tone for peace instead of stress. The second Stoic principle is transforming pain into purpose. Life's hardest moments, whether it's losing a job, struggling in relationships, or facing illness, are often the ones that help us grow the most. Pain hurts, but pain itself doesn't have to mean suffering. The Stoics taught that challenges can be turned into tools for strength and wisdom if we choose the right response. Epictetus, once a slave, reminded his students not just to talk about philosophy but to live it. Viktor Frankl, who survived concentration camps, discovered that even when everything is taken away, we still have the freedom to choose our attitude. The Stoic method is simple. First, accept reality as it is. Second, separate what you can control from what you can't. And third, ask yourself how this challenge can make you stronger, wiser, or more compassionate. For example, losing a job is painful, but it can push you to develop new skills, rethink your career, and realign with your values. The problem doesn't vanish, but it becomes fuel for growth. This way, you stop being a victim of life's hardships and instead turn them into opportunities for becoming your best self. You don't need life to get easier, you need to get stronger. Every time you turn a difficult moment into growth, you build confidence and resilience. Over time, you stop seeing problems as threats to your happiness and start seeing them as chances to grow. This makes your happiness stronger, not weaker, under pressure. It doesn't mean you go looking for pain, but you stop fearing it. The Stoics called this the discipline of desire, learning to want what happens instead of always wishing for something else. That's how you can still find peace even when life isn't going as planned. The Stoics weren't just thinkers. They lived through wars, loss, and hardship, and these practices helped them find real peace in chaos. You can do the same starting today. When something goes wrong, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How is this happening for me?" Small changes in perspective create big changes in how you feel. The truth is, challenges don't destroy happiness. Believing they do is what holds you back. Now comes the third principle, letting go of control. Most of our stress comes from trying to control things that are beyond us, like other people's actions, the future, or the past. Epictetus explained that we only control our thoughts, choices, desires, and actions. Everything else is outside our power. When you stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable, you free yourself to focus on what you can change, your mindset. Even Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, admitted that the only moment of real control is the present. Imagine being stuck in traffic on the way to an important meeting. Getting angry won't move cars. But you can choose calm, take a breath, listen to something useful, and accept what you can't change. That's the freedom Stoicism gives you. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means using wisdom. You're not losing power, you're taking it back from things that were never yours to control. When you stop trying to change other people, your relationships get better because you accept them as they are instead of resenting them for not being who you want. Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." When you stop forcing outcomes, you begin to find peace and flow. Society tells us that success means controlling everything, but true control is about your choices, actions, and attitude, not the results or other people's behavior. This shift creates freedom. You no longer carry the impossible task of managing the world, only yourself. In daily life, notice when you're stressing about things you can't change, like the past, the future, or other people's reactions. Then practice the Stoic pivot. Refocus on what you can control. You can't control getting the job, but you can prepare for the interview. You can't control whether someone approves of you, but you can be genuine. You can't control if plans change, but you can adapt with grace. This isn't passivity, it's smart focus. By directing your energy only where it matters, you actually become stronger and more effective. And that leads to the next principle, gratitude. The Stoics knew that joy isn't in chasing more. It's in noticing what you already have. Right now, your heart beats without effort, your eyes see millions of colors, and your mind creates and connects. But instead of marveling at this, most people dwell on what's missing. Gratitude is the daily medicine that shifts your focus back to life's hidden miracles. Gratitude isn't just a nice feeling, it's a powerful practice for happiness. The Stoics didn't just make lists of blessings. They practiced what can be called philosophical gratitude, noticing the value of life itself even in hard times. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that it is a privilege just to be alive, to breathe, to think, and to love. Seneca taught people to imagine losing what they had, not to cause fear but to deepen appreciation. When you think about life without your loved ones, your health, or your freedom, you suddenly feel grateful for what you do have. This practice makes ordinary life feel extraordinary. The Stoics also found gratitude in difficulties, asking, "What can this challenge teach me?" A setback can show you resilience, a health scare can remind you to value your body, and struggles in relationships can teach you the strength of love. By practicing gratitude daily, even for small things like clean water or a kind word, you rewire your brain to notice positives instead of negatives. Over time, this changes your whole perspective. You stop waiting for a perfect life, and start appreciating the one you already have. Cicero said, "A thankful heart is the parent of all virtues," and the Stoics proved it. Gratitude builds the foundation for courage, wisdom, and peace. Starting today, you can choose to see the beauty already around you. The Stoics taught that real happiness doesn't come from outside things like success, money, or approval, but from building a strong inner foundation that no problem or setback can shake. When you stop depending on others to feel worthy, you become truly free, and ironically, that's when people respect you even more. But by then you won't need it. Happiness is not something that just happens. It's something you create every day through your mindset, choices, and personal growth. The 5 lessons: starting your mornings with the right mindset, turning pain into purpose, letting go of control, practicing deep gratitude, and building unshakable self-worth, are not just ideas but tools that can change your life if you apply them. The Stoics created these practices not because life was easy, but because it was difficult, and they refused to let challenges steal their peace. You have the same power today. If you commit to even one of these practices for a week, you'll start to see a difference in how you live, how you see challenges, and how you feel inside. Your happiness has always been in your hands, through wisdom, strength, and intentional living.